my blood, with every breath in my lungs. Won't stop until I'm phenomenal.
What is up, phenomenal fans? I am back at it again with another video. Today, I am sitting in the same spot as I was yesterday to discuss my thoughts for WrestleMania 36 Night 2. Because guess what? If you didn't know, it's too big for just one night. That's why we're here again for the second straight day. So let's get right into it. Another incredible kickoff match. Liv Morgan defeated Natalya. I don't really know what happened in that match. I wasn't paying that much attention. I didn't miss anything. Liv Morgan won. Woo! Charlotte Flair is challenging Rhea Ripley for her NXT Women's Championship, and this was probably, other than, the cinematic matches, a Firefly Funhouse match, which we'll get to in just a couple minutes, the Boneyard match, which I loved from yesterday. This is probably the best in-ring match. It was about 20 or so minutes, and in the end, Charlotte Flair gets Rhea Ripley to tap out of the figure 8. Now, first I was like, of course, Charlotte Flair is an 11-time women's champion. They're doing all they can to get Charlotte Flair close to Ric Flair's record, just because, Ric Flair's 16-time champion, and Charlotte's her daughter. Her daughter? Wow. Charlotte's his daughter. And then I was thinking about it before I did this video, I'm like, this is great, because Charlotte, we all can agree, although Charlotte's probably the best in-ring female wrestler in the world right now, she's just getting stale. It's going back and forth. Winning the Raw Women's title, winning the Smackdown Women's title, just winning these titles, getting close to her dad's record. And everybody hates her. It's like, oh, well, we hate Charlotte because she's overbooked. I can agree she's overbooked, but she's probably the best in-ring performer, female-wise, in the entire world. But with this switch to NXT, now she's a 2-time NXT Women's Champion. Just think of the possible matches. So, we don't get Charlotte on the Raw, I'm not going to call it the main roster. We don't get Charlotte on Raw and SmackDown for a while, which is great because it freshens things up now that Charlotte's out of the title picture there. She's over in NXT. Think of all the fresh matches we get. We can get Charlotte and Io Shirai, Charlotte and Bianca Belair, even though she is possibly going on to Raw again. We'll talk about that in a minute. But Charlotte, Io Shirai, Charlotte and Candice LeRae, Charlotte and Toni Storm, who else? Charlotte and Dakota Kai, Charlotte and Tegan Nox, Charlotte and Shotzi Blackheart. Just all these fresh matches, and also it'll get a veteran down there of the women's division to, just bring the veteran stuff there. I don't even know what I'm trying to explain anymore, but you got Charlotte Flair, probably the best women's wrestler ever in ring-wise, and she's just there with you, and also the fresh matchups. And I'm thinking this can be a chance for Rhea Ripley to go to the main roster. It's sort of like a switch. Rhea Ripley goes up to the main roster. I keep calling it the main roster. I gotta get used to this. Goes over to Raw and SmackDown. She's there. Those are definitely fresh matches. Rhea Ripley, Bayley. Rhea Ripley, Sasha Banks. I'm looking on the Raw site. She's probably gonna be on Raw. Rhea Ripley and Natalya, for all I care. Just fresh matches. Rhea Ripley on Raw and SmackDown, Charlotte Flair and NXT. So don't hate the move. So after an incredible singles match between Rhea Ripley and Charlotte Flair, we got on to Aleister Black and Bobby Lashley. Aleister Black wins with the Black Mass after Lana sort of distracted Bobby, but accidentally pulled on a Brian AJ from years back. But Aleister Black wins. Yay! The crowd goes wild. Next up is everybody's homeboy Otis going up against Dolph Ziggler. Screw you, Dolph. Screw you, Sonya. We all know it was Sonya. It got revealed on SmackDown. Sonya sent the text. We hate you, Sonya. We hate you, Dolph. So out comes Dolph. He's got Sonya Deville coming with him. No Mandy Rose, though. Out comes Otis. Doesn't have Tucker because Tucker, is injured from his match with Ziggler on SmackDown. He gets zigzagged under the steps. So one-on-one, finally, Otis gets his hands on Dolph. It was just your average under 10-minute match. Obviously, it wasn't meant to be a super good match. Otis and Dolph Ziggler aren't going to put on a 5-star technical classic or anything. It's just the story of Otis getting his hands on Dolph. Dolph tried to get out of there. Beginning of the match, super kicked Otis. Otis went out of the ring. He tried to get a count-out victory. He was just running away. But in the end, Sonya comes in, distracts the ref. Dolph Ziggler a low blow. Mandy's music hits. She comes down. She gets into Sonya Deville. Finally get her hands on Sonya. Ref is paying attention to Sonya. Comes in. Low blows Dolph Ziggler. Otis the pop-up slam. 1, 2, 3. Otis exacts his revenge. In comes Mandy Rose, jumping into Otis's arms. They share a kiss as they walk away. Best WrestleMania moment ever. It's not all about Macho Man and Randy Savage. It's not about John Cena and Nikki Bella. It's about Mandy Rose and Otis making their WrestleMania moment. Go Otis. Next up, we have another one of the best stories. Edge and Randy Orton last man standing match. And this one is probably a controversial match just because people said it went too long. It went about 36 minutes. But I loved every minute of it. It was quiet. It was quote-unquote sort of boring. That was the point. It was methodical. That's better word we'll say. It's got Randy Orton. It was brutal. Match starts off. Edge makes his entrance. Didn't really do that with the smoke, but he did get smoke. Edge comes out, Orton's music hits, he doesn't come out. Orton comes from behind, out of nowhere, RKO, and it was revealed in a replay he was dressed as the cameraman, which I loved so much. Edge, was clutching his neck because he had, 2 neck surgeries. Edge gets ref rings the bell, gets laid out with another RKO for about 10 minutes. Just Orton walking around the performance center, just brutally throwing him into things, hitting him with things, throwing him into the barricade, throwing him into the wall. And then Edge starts to get some offense. This is all the way back in the gym. Edge starts to use like the monkey bars and the pull-up bars and all this stuff to do some innovative offense. They end up doing battle. Orton then gets a piece of equipment. I'm not an exercise guy, as you can tell. But Orton gets a piece of exercise equipment, tries to like ram it into Edge. Edge barely gets out of the way. They just sort of keep fighting to the performance center. They get like all the way to the back to like the production area and then like the equipment storage area. They end up getting up on a truck. Edge hits a spear. Orton hits an RKO. They all do all this stuff. It's just intense. And Orton brings out the chairs. He's looking for the concerto. Edge stops it, puts on that submission hold, and then Edge finally nails Randy Orton with the concerto. Ref counts to 10. Edge picks up the win. Also, I should mention Edge hit a nice elbow drop to Orton through a table because, you know, Edge was like, "Ooh, a ladder, I better climb that." Jumped off. It wasn't really on a ladder. It was on like a piece of fencing. Jumped off, hit an elbow, and also an incredible 1.5-foot elbow, probably something. He was like Spider-Man climbing a little tiny fencing and then dropped a tiny little elbow on Orton, but it looked brutal. He drove it right into his chest, but that was just hilarious. Edge wins the last man standing, 36 minutes. Incredible. After that long, methodical, brutal last man standing match, it's a quick tag team title match. The Street Profits defend the titles against Austin Theory and Angel Garza. It's about a 5-6 minute match. Street Profits win after Montez Ford hit a huge crossbody, not a crossbody, a frog splash. Hit a springboard actually. Angelo Dawkins, I can't talk, rolls under the cover. 1, 2, 3, Street Profits win, but then they're attacking Montez and them after the match. In comes Bianca Belair, the real life wife of Montez Ford, makes the save, and like I said earlier, Bianca Belair on Monday Night Raw, maybe, kinda not against that. Get some fresh faces. Rhea Ripley, Bianca Belair up on Raw. But nonetheless, Street Profits retain the tag titles. Next up, a fatal 5-way elimination match. Bayley defending her title against her best friend Sasha Banks, against Lacey Evans, against Naomi, and against Tamina. Everybody's favorite, everybody's pick. If Tamina loses, we riot. Fatal 5-way match that starts off your basic offense. Naomi and Lacey are teaming up against Sasha and Bayley, but then everybody hits their move. Lacey hits a moonsault, Bayley hits an elbow, Sasha hits a frog splash. Naomi does her split-legged moonsault. Everybody covers Tamina. 1, 2, 3. Tamina's out. How dare you? Naomi ends up getting pinned. Lacey Evans was going for the women's right on Bayley. Bayley got out of the way. Sort of accidentally threw Lacey into Sasha for the women's right. 1, 2, 3. Lacey pins Sasha. So it's down to Lacey Evans and Bayley. Bayley is, you know, struggling. Lacey's about to win the match, going for her moonsault. Nails the moonsault. Goes for the women's right because we have Bayley kicked out. In comes Sasha Banks. Backstabber for Lacey Evans. Bayley hits her, whatever the heck that finisher is. 1, 2, 3. And Bayley retains the title in a match. This is probably the one big decision. If yesterday was the Raw women's match, today would be the Smackdown women's match. Bayley should have dropped the belt to someone. Whether it's Sasha, whether it's Naomi, whether it's even Lacey, or, of course, Tamina, because, you know, Tamina, woo-woo. But Bayley retains, so it looks like we're going down the path of the Bayley-Sasha feud. Looks like it's going to have the title. Not necessarily complaining there, other than the fact that Bayley and Becky both have held the titles for, like, ever now. Give us fresh people. It's going to be Bayley and Sasha at SummerSlam, probably. Give us a good SummerSlam, Vince, please. But nonetheless, Bayley retains the title. And here we go. Yesterday we had the Boneyard match. Today we get the Firefly Funhouse match. John Cena's music hits and we're like, oh, come on. We're going to get a regular match when we're all excited for a Firefly Funhouse match in a completely different location. But then all of a sudden, you know, we're going to do boo, 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 boo. I can't think of the words. Firefly Funhouse is on. Bray Wyatt's there. He's talking about how, you know, Firefly Funhouse match is happening. He goes through his little back door. Then John Cena all of a sudden teleports into the Firefly Funhouse. I'm definitely going to be looking at my notes for this one. Just fair warning, because there's a lot that happened in this. In his little 13-minute thing. Ramblin' Rabbit says back there is where he went, blah, blah, blah. So Cena goes back there, he's sitting in darkness. All of a sudden, there's a ring. Bray Wyatt, you know, Firefly Funhouse is in the ring. You see the Smackdown fist, and John Cena comes out. All the match, I'm going to say it now, whenever I mention something that was a couple laughs in the past, whatever, they're showing, like, little back and forth. Bray's basically reenacting what Kurt Angle did, calling out for somebody to challenge him, blah, blah, blah. And the same thing happened for everything else that happened in this match. But here comes John Cena, wearing his old school Ruthless Aggression gear when he came out, and he debuted, and he challenged Kurt Angle. He comes out, and he's, you know, Ruthless Aggression, goes for the slap. Bray ducks it, tries it a few more times, he ducks it. Bray starts cutting a promo on him, blah, blah, blah. I'm not going to get every detail of this match, just saying. Then John Cena finally goes to get Bray, and Bray pop vanishes because, you know, Bray Wyatt. I'm going to look at my notes now because, yeah, this is a lot of stuff that happens. So Cena starts in the ring, teleports to the Firefly Funhouse, Ruthless Aggression stuff. Again, I don't know if I have the same word. Then we end up going to an old school promo where Bray Wyatt is reenacting I don't even remember who. Basically, just an old school Raw, like in the 80s and 90s, the Hulk Hogan, Macho Man era. They had two of the puppets, Mercy the Buzzard and the Vince McMahon puppet, were on commentary. I forget what the actual names were, but that was just such a great thing. They had the little Firefly Funhouse announce table. There, we got an old school promo. Bray Wyatt introduces John Cena. He's lifting, he's getting hulked up, brother. And then all of a sudden, we go away. Bray starts beating up Cena. He throws Cena around. Back to the notes here. Again, I don't know if I'm in the exact order. We got old school Bray Wyatt, Eater of Worlds Bray Wyatt doing one of his old school rocking chair promos. Inside the ring, we got Bray Wyatt, and then we got John Cena wearing the shirt. Just wearing the gear that he wore back in the 2014 feud. Bray Wyatt hits one sister Abigail. Cena, of course, obviously went for some moves. Bray kept vanishing. All that good stuff. Back to the notes, because can't get away from the notes. Bray Wyatt is now reenacting Eric Bischoff back in the WCW days. Introduces John Cena, who was originally Hulk Hogan at the time, and now it's John Cena. Comes out strumming the WCW NWO World Heavyweight title, all that good stuff. Strumming it just like Hogan. He's dressed in his NWO gear. He gets in the ring, because, yeah, this is something that's happening. Cena finally tackles him down, gets his hands on Bray. He's, pounding Bray. Then we start seeing visuals of the puppets. They're like, you're hurting him, you're hurting him. And then we look back in the ring, and it's Cena standing there, back in his normal gear, and he's just pounding on the pig. I forget what his name is. I'm losing. Huskus the pig boy. He is pounding on Huskus. It's over and over and over again. Realizing that Bray is gone, we look back up, and it's the Fiend standing behind him. Fiend locks in the mandible claw. Bray Wyatt, Firefly Funhouse, obviously cuts hand counting as the ref. 1, 2, 3. The Fiend has pinned John Cena, and then the Fiend has rewritten all the wrongs that John Cena did 6 years ago. It's all rewritten. It's all done. This brings back the eeriness of the Fiend after losing to Goldberg. Obviously lost his eeriness. Now with this pre-recorded stuff where they have, time to edit it and do stuff that, and realize you couldn't do. It just brings back the aura of the Fiend. Cena teleporting, Bray teleporting. It's just all this wicked nonsense that is insanely stupid, but in all the right and entertaining ways. It was ridiculous. Cena's teleporting, Bray's teleporting. Cena's, changing back and forth into his gear. Same with Bray, and it's awesome. I loved every minute of it. We have Boneyard on Saturday, night 1. We have Firefly Funhouse at night 2. Definitely takes away from having no audience. And if there's any matches that benefited, it was the Boneyard, it was this match, and it was the Edge and Orton match. Those are the matches that benefited from having no crowd. But now that I've been rambling on for 4.5, 5 minutes, Fiend beats Cena in the Firefly Funhouse match. Pure sports entertainment gold. And then somehow we go from that into a regular wrestling match. It's the main event, Drew McIntyre challenging Brock Lesnar for the WWE title. And meanwhile, we're still reeling from that 15 minutes of beauty between Cena and Wyatt. Drew McIntyre makes his entrance, Brock Lesnar makes his entrance, they all do the introductions, all that good stuff. Match lasts about 4.5 minutes. Brock Lesnar, right off the gates, he's going after Drew. Drew's going after him. Brock nails a German. Brock and him nailing an F5. Drew kicked out at 1 from an F5. He nails another F5. Drew kicked out at 2. Brock picks him up. He nailed a third F5. Drew kicked out again. Drew ended up hitting a Claymore. This was before the F5s. Drew hit a Claymore. Brock Lesnar kicked out at 2. They were like, oh my god. That's the first time the Claymore's been kicked out of. Drew hits about 3 more Claymores. 1, 2, 3. Drew McIntyre, after 10 plus years, finally in the main event of WrestleMania, is the WWE Champion. He's on the top, and the crowd went wild. I couldn't handle Drew winning the WWE title in front of no one. It's just horrible. But Drew McIntyre is the WWE Champion. WWE puts on an epic WrestleMania, better than it had any rights to be. Night 1 and Night 2 were both awesome. Yeah, they had, their critiques. The Raw Women's match, the Intercontinental title match from Night 1. Night 2, you had a couple things. You had Bayley retaining the title, which is kind of questionable. But just incredible action. Charlotte, Rhea, Ripley was great. The 2 cinematic matches were great. The Last Man Standing match was awesome. It was just all incredible action. It was just great. They did the best they could. They put lighting everywhere. Owens and Rollins yesterday was great. Just they did better than they should have done. They produced these weird, awkward Smackdowns and Raws, and then they come out here and it's still sort of awkward during the actual matches, but they just did everything they could to get rid of the awkwardness. They did Boneyard, they did Firefly Funhouse, and they delivered. So how did you feel about Night 2? How did you feel about the entire pay-per-view as a whole? Tell me in the comments below. Did you like the Firefly Funhouse? Did you think it was stupid? Tell me in the comments below. I'd love to hear your opinion. You have an opinion, it means you have a backbone. Tell me your opinion. Was it good? Was it bad? Was the Boneyard good? Was it bad? Do you like Charlotte as the NXT Women's Champion? How did you feel about the booking decision? Rob Gronkowski as host. He's 24/7 champion. Titus O'Neil filled in as host. That was an incredible piece of comedy. Anyways, I thank you all for watching. Stay home. Stay safe. I thank you all for watching.